to the third session of One Another's. There's 59 One Another's in the Bible.
But there's not 59 sessions for this e-group series.
What we're doing is we're actually grouping some of the One Another's in Scripture and looking at some themes. Today we're going to be looking at what it means to serve one another.
Yeah, it's a big idea in Scripture. You know, it's a big part of who Jesus was. Being a servant.
Yeah, he said he didn't come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many.
Yeah.
So that was the model he gave you and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're going to look as to what it means to serve, because one thing Jesus did was he washed the disciples' feet.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing story. In the book of John, chapter 13, you can read it. And they were gathering for a meal, so it was like a semi-formal occasion. They're gathering for a meal. And during the meal, Jesus took what was normally the role of an actual servant / slave, like a really lowly position. And he takes a bucket and he takes a towel. And he takes his jacket off, so he's sort of not because even today the clothes people wear is part of their status or part of and it was probably even more so in the ancient world. So he takes off his sort of rabbi's jacket, puts on the sort of clothes of the servant, and gets the towel ready and a bucket, and he goes around and he washes all the disciples' feet. It seems weird now; it doesn't happen at dinner parties nowadays, but at the time, because there wasn't paved roads and they were living in the desert, your feet always got dirty, and it was the normal thing is that someone's job they got paid to do is to wash people's feet, and it was like the lowest of the servants.
Yeah.
Because you obviously don't want the person washing the feet to then go and make the sandwiches. It was like the lowest sort of thing was the washing of the feet, and it's a pretty powerful picture of Jesus displaying, like we said last week, that we need to love one another like Jesus loved us, and Jesus gives us a picture of service and servanthood.
Yeah.
That's extreme, really.
It's huge, and he says, "I want you to wash one another's feet."
Yeah.
Which is in essence for us to take off our status.
Yeah.
And not think of ourselves more highly than we ought to.
Yep.
Because different things can cause pride to enter our heart.
Yep. Well, you might be once you achieve things, you get to a certain age, you do feel a position, because fair enough, you've achieved things, you're of a certain age, but Jesus challenges some of those hierarchies, He breaks them down.
And he challenges them, like many people will serve somebody who's perceived to be above them, but I'm not going to serve somebody who's perceived to be below me.
Yeah.
And here Jesus, he removes the power differential.
Yeah, he breaks that down.
He breaks it down in a moment, which means that there's a relatability.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you remove the power differential, it's like you can connect and relate as just normal people.
Yeah, well, you break down the positions a bit, and so you can then relate as brothers, friends. Jesus even says in Scripture as well, which is really powerful. There's something interesting about the story there as well, though, where when Peter's going around the circle, Jesus is going around the circle, he gets to Peter.
Yeah.
And Peter says, "Oh no, you can't wash my feet because you're the teacher." And so Peter is trying to hold on to the differential, and then Jesus says, "Unless you let me wash your feet, then you can't have any part." And I think there's the serving thing has got a two-sided thing. We need to be good at serving, but you also have to be comfortable and humble enough to receive when someone else is serving. Because it creates this togetherness again. You can't be part of something unless you're prepared to receive. Like when you go to buy someone a coffee, and then they refuse to let you pay. Sometimes it's a good joke, but sometimes it's actually just awkward. There's a grace that comes when you can also receive other people serving.
And serving is a big thing. I wonder how many relationships would change if we served and removed the power differential.
Yeah.
How are our relationships affected by power differentials?
Yeah.
Or perceived power differentials?
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus went on and he said, "Come on, I want you to serve, but I want you to serve one another in love."
Yeah.
So again, that reinforces what we talked about last week, that you to make a decision to serve.
Yeah.
Because we don't feel like serving.
No, it's not natural. Yeah. You don't. It's not the normal thing. You're normally looking after your self-interest.
Yeah.
But love commands us to make decisions to serve. To plan to.
And there's Galatians 5:13. But in Scripture, in Peter, he talks about it a bit. He says, "Hey, I want you to offer hospitality to one another without grumbling."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, to offer hospitality,
Yeah.
nothing worse than receiving hospitality from a grumbling person.
No, yeah, it's actually become, all of the intended grace that's in that is all sucked up by someone's bad attitude.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, the power of it is not just the hospitality, it's the attitude that's given with it, you know, that you can do it without the grumbling.
And I think as believers, we are called to be hospitable, keep open house.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really important, you know, that we just don't close off our world to people, but we offer hospitality. People are looking to come into and connect into people's places. And so often we don't do that because our worlds are busy, you know, we have to tidy up the home. But, you know, as believers, I think it's important to keep open house.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also important to remember with all the every command that Jesus gives us is for us.
Yeah.
You know, so when there's a command like, hey, let's serve one another, let's be hospitable without grumbling, let's keep open home, it's not just for the benefit of other people, it's actually to shift our own heart to help us more accurately be like Christ, you know, and that's a benefit to us.
Yeah.
You know?
Can we thank all our
it's a
people
good
who
one.
are hosting e-groups right now for offering hospitality and opening their home?
Yeah.
Or thank the cafe owner if you're in a cafe.
Yeah, or
But
whoever brought the Tim Tams.
It's you know, it's creating an opportunity for people to get together. In fact, you know, right around, I think we need more people to open their homes.
Yeah.
It'd be even, you know, a good conversation. What are some of the hesitations on us opening our home up to others?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, we've got a reluctance, we've got a nervousness with it. You know, why don't we open our home to others? Because if we had more open homes, we could gather more people.
Yeah.
And we could
More people be
serve one
connected.
another, love one another in a better way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
Very good.
And Peter goes on in 1 Peter chapter 4, he says, each one of you should use whatever gift they have to serve one another.
Yeah, it's good.
So we've all been given gifts. How are we using those gifts and for what benefit?
Yeah, yeah. Well, because everyone's got gifts. You know, it's the gifts you have from God that allow you to do well in your job, make money, you know, have an impact in the world. But the way we use those gifts is really clear. We're to use those gifts to benefit one another, you know, to bring blessing to one another.
Not just to earn income.
Yeah, or to look after ourselves only, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's each one of you should use your gift to serve one another. And so, you know, the whole serving of one another is taking the best of my life, not the leftovers of my life.
yeah, it's good.
to actually help and serve that person. You know, and I think that comes even from another scripture where we're called to, it says, clothe yourself with humility toward one another.
Yeah, really good.
Which in essence means that none of us should think more highly of ourselves than we ought to.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, the whole nature of what it means to serve is that we say, hey, we're here, we're not above serving.
Yeah.
It's not like you graduate from being a servant as a believer, but by serving, you're actually reflecting the very heart and nature of who God is.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I like the thought as well that you have to clothe yourself with humility. You know, you're not gonna wake up wearing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a decision to hey, this is what I'm going to put around my life as a way of interacting with the world around me. You know, so you don't. It's not a natural thing to wake up feeling humble. You actually make that decision to present yourself that way.
we all want God's grace, and humility attracts God's grace. So, you know, some good thoughts just within there. And I want you to talk practically about how you serve another person, how you're serving, because a lot of people can talk about it, but actually never action some stuff.
Yeah.
And I think there's some deliberate choices that we make in serving others and serving, you know, whether it be through church or, you know, serving our neighbors, serving our workmates, whoever. How do we go about doing that? And so let's have those discussions in our group. Also, you know, let's think about where, you know, potentially we can open our home more to embrace more people, that they might also be a recipient of God's love. Bless you. We'll see you next week.